But yeah, when we talk about is the business of boxing ruining boxing, um, another fight that comes to mind is Spence versus Crawford. This is a fight that been should have happened. You know what I mean? Obviously, one being with Top Rank, one being with PBC. You understand why it hasn't. And I guess when it comes to the marination of things, this is an instance where it's marinated into perfection in the sense that now Earl Spence has collected all the titles on the PBC side, where if they fight, it will be for the undisputed welterweight championship, all the marbles on the table, and the Ring Magazine title. And now Terrence Crawford finished out his contract with Top Rank. So now he's a free agent. So tell me, why is this fight not happening? Can somebody explain to me? And honestly, it's a bit of a rhetorical question because somebody could be like, well, this is what's happening and this and inform me, remember, I don't know shit about boxing. You know what I'm saying? So please inform me. But at the end of the day, it's like we could say all of these reasons and whatnot, but there's certain times where there's reasons, and then there's times where there's just straight up excuses. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to hear it, bro. Straight up. So I'm seeing reports, Spence versus Crawford. Give me just a second. I'm gonna look this up. Spence versus Crawford was supposed to happen on November 19th, but there's a contract dispute. Let's go ahead and check out this article by Forbes. It is titled Earl Spence versus Terrence Crawford. Excuse me. Dream fight in jeopardy because of contract dispute. This is a bummer if you're a boxing fan. The dream fight of Earl Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford for the undisputed welterweight championship could get called off if a nagging contract issue isn't resolved soon, according to ESPN's Mike Cappinger. Mike Coppinger, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. It's all right. That's the thing, though. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be with this. What I'm doing here is I'm not trying to be a Mike Coppinger. I'm not trying to break the news, whatever. I'm trying to just talk about current events, chat about it and whatnot. But the life they live is you're always trying to break the story, and sometimes you get wrong and then you get nicknames and whatnot. The pay-per-view bout slated for Las Vegas will miss its previously agreed upon date of November 19th and could get bumped back to December or January, or who knows when. The deal had Crawford earning a smaller piece of the financial pie. The hang-up now, according to Coppinger, Crawford, quote, wants transparency in the regards to event expenses because the terms say nothing of guaranteed money. Ah, that makes sense. As a promotional free agent after splitting from Top Rank, Crawford will earn a net revenue percentage, so he will be requesting the power to approve all expenses. Now, I guess I can understand where, there could be some issues with that. You know what I'm saying? But here's the deal, man. When it comes to negotiation disputes, I have to kind of look at the past and I have to look at the big picture. And when I look at, okay, what's going on? This is PBC. You kind of look at, I want to say they've done a very good job at getting the fights that they need to for their fighters in-house. But there are recent examples of when that isn't the case. For example, David Benavidez. He hasn't really gotten a huge fight. They keep calling for this Canelo fight, but there's other in-house big fights that you could make that hasn't happened yet. So, let's see that happen. And Jermall Charlo, since he's went to 160, has done fuck all with his career. No offense. But in relation to calling for a Canelo fight at 168 pounds, you got another guy at 168 pounds who's been calling you out, and Charlo doesn't seem to even want to mention his name on the Mike Tyson podcast. Like I said, no offense to Charlo. I think he's a very good fighter. I just want to see the fights I want to see. I'm a frustrated fan when it comes down to it. And I don't think that that type of criticism is unfair, considering the levels of the levels of opposition that we've seen from his fights lately. So that being said, you look at, speaking of Canelo, we look at the contract dispute that Canelo had, even becoming undisputed. He became undisputed under the PBC banner because he had a 1-fight deal with them. They were trying to sign him for 3 fights. There was all sorts of, remember, him versus Plant wasn't supposed to happen in November of 2021. It's supposed to happen in September, but it got pushed back because of 11th hour contract disputes. So that being said, my point with this is, if we've already seen where PBC can let a fight with a free agent, basically like this is like an alley-oop negotiation. Like, the guy's a free agent, give him what he needs, stick to your guns as well, but make the fight happen. And then you're going to let the fight fall apart due to 11th hour. You're lucky, or they're lucky, that they had that IBF title that Canelo wanted so badly. Because if not, Canelo would have been like, peace. You're getting none of this money at all. And it never would have happened. That was the only thing that they had. And for this, obviously this is the fight that needs to be made in the welterweight division, the only fight. And it would be a shame if it doesn't happen. It would be, along with the Fury versus Joshua, this would be a huge stain on the sport if this fight doesn't happen. You know what I mean?